All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of No Reserves Radio. I'm Angelo, feeling a little bit better than yesterday here with Alex. Alex, go ahead.
How's it going, guys? It's a happy day. It's a happy Thursday to everyone out there. And it's not so happy for Angelo because, Angelo, I told you this yesterday, but I'm gonna need you to do something for me real quick. I'm gonna need you to acknowledge me, please.
You got lucky.
No, 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 no,
My
no.
team broke down like a train at the
Yet
end of the
another
game.
win. Yet another win and yet another playoff trip to this guy. Just doing the unlikely. Day in, day out. Needed 3 wins, got the 3 wins, got the results that I needed, and this guy is going to the playoffs, baby. Almost said Super Bowl there. That's probably not gonna happen.
Oh, you're about to get bounced. One and done.
And I just had the highest score of the week in that league.
Yeah, now you're done. You used all your mojo right there.
No, 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 no. Maybe this is mid-season form.
No.
I'm not even at my full power yet, Angelo. This might be the year that things change. Me making it in 7-7, never losing hope. And here we are. Happy playoffs, everyone. It's the grind year, the most important time of the year for fantasy football, I guess. It's the first week of the playoffs for most of the leagues, and it comes on the back of significant injuries. It's being reported today that Justin Herbert is going on IR. That's over. Season's done. Teams that were relying on him, too bad. That's over. Is it now that you just move on to Easton Stick? Do you place your playoff hopes on Easton Stick? Would you, Angelo?
No, I would not.
Of course, no one would. You just place your playoff hopes on Jake Browning, baby. His last two starts, now that both weeks are completed, his last two starts, Indianapolis and at Jacksonville, Jake Browning has been a QB what?
He's probably been a QB1.
He has been a top 5 QB both weeks.
Disgusting.
QB4 and QB4 both
Disgusting.
weeks. Yeah. I mean, it's balling out, baby. And this is what playoff football is all about. Playoff fantasy football is all about. Or maybe you just turn your attention to the one and only Danny Cutlers, then Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets coming in. Did you see any of the game that happened on Monday? Because that's the one that we didn't
No,
discuss.
I did not.
Okay, so Tommy DeVito just balled out, man. He's the new sensation of the NFL. He's Italian. He's American. He probably has connections to the mob. Looking at his agent, just random guess, and he's the talk of the town. And he led a comeback drive there in the end with less than 2 minutes to go. He put a really nice pass to Wendell Robinson, and he got the win over our boy Jordan Love. The Packers didn't have the best of games, and Tommy DeVito managed to make a case for himself. Do you think that he has a case for being a long-time player in the NFL?
Player in the NFL?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say starter yet.
yeah, I could see player. I could see teams giving him a chance,
Huh.
especially if he performs well at the end. Because, like, let's be real, the start it was beyond atrocious,
Yeah.
but at least now he's not playing like catastrophically.
And he has wheels, dude. Like this
He
week,
does.
10
He does.
carries, 71 yards.
He does have wheels.
Yeah. He has had over 5 carries in three of his, what, Three of his 7 starts. No, 6 starts. My bad. Half of his starts, he has over 5 carries. He has wheels. He's making. I mean, he did make a few really impressive throws versus the Packers. Now he has only exceeded 200 yards passing once in his 6 starts. So I don't think that that's gonna hold on for too long. But it's a nice story, man. The NFL is behind him.
I still can't believe Justin Jefferson gave me 4 freaking points this whole year.
Tough break, my man. Tough break. Unfortunately for you, that game wasn't even close. It was just a good old beating, like the ones that used to happen a while back. You still haven't won me a game in that league. Ever.
Yeah, ever.
Ever. We're just gonna push it to next year.
Maybe next year.
Maybe we just do a division shuffle.
Yeah, yeah. That would be nice.
And then we both stay in the same division again.
No, that's not happening. You're not rigging another one.
Uh, what do you think my realistic chances are this week?
I think you have a good chance. Why?
Oh, okay.
So, do you have, by the way, so I put this in the chat. I don't know if you read it, but in every dynasty league I am in, I have missed the playoffs, and in every redraft league I'm in, I have made the playoffs. So, since I don't have much experience with dynasty lineup positioning, what tips do you have? I don't know if you're the best person to talk about this either, but what tips do you have for people setting their lineups going into playoffs?
I mean, it's like in the redraft,
In any format,
any
really.
format. So if you're eliminated from the playoffs, or if it's just like
If
if you're
you are
making the
in the
playoffs,
playoffs and you
okay.
are deciding to make a lineup, what do you look for?
You look for what I do, and you do the opposite.
You look for what I do and you do the opposite.
That's the best advice I can give anyone, to be honest. Because when playoffs come around, I just make the worst picks imaginable. And
I don't know.
I guess it's just don't overthink it. It's like, for example, in my case, I have Jamar Chase and I have Stephon Diggs. Both guys laid a pretty big dud versus you this week. Now, I can get fancy and I can say, okay, Stephon Diggs goes against Dallas. Dallas has had a pretty solid defense. Maybe I just sit Stephon Diggs. He hasn't been having the best of times, I guess. Like of his
It was the best of
last,
times. It was the worst of times.
I mean, his last 4 games, he has had over double-digit points in one of them.
That is pretty rough.
So I can get fancy and do that, and that's probably something I must have done sometime back in the old days when I set my lineups. And it's just not worth it. Just don't overthink this. Just set your lineup straight as you would any other week. Don't overthink it. Play the matchups. Play your studs. Don't get fancy with this. This is just another week. And yeah, that's just what I'm gonna do this year. At least try to do. But I'm pretty sure that I eventually am gonna sit my QB6 on the year, Sam Howell, for one of these random scrubs that I picked up on waivers and have been doing me well. So wouldn't shock me
Or you
if by
can acquire
Sunday.
Dak Prescott.
Um, no, probably no,
No, probably
no,
no.
because I have Jake Browning
Oh my god.
and Joe Flacco and Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito. So one of them starts. I want to say Sam Howell starts, but I know myself and I know that Joe Flacco might have like an inkling of a chance to start for my team. Same as Jake Browning, who's been doing me well recently. But yeah, my advice is do the opposite of this. Just start Sam Howell. If you have Sam Howell and you have all of these guys are scrubs. Just start Sam Howell, who has been pretty good this whole season.
Start your studs.
Start your studs, bench your flyers, your guys that you picked up on waivers and haven't really been doing too great. And yeah, I'll do the opposite of that, just so you can succeed.
Just so you can see this guy. Do you think there's any glaring like playoff winners on that you could get either in trade if your league doesn't have a trade deadline, or you can pick up on waivers? Is there anyone that you've been considering?
Uh, there's a few guys. I mean, we talked about it last show, and one of the guys is definitely Kamara. I still think he has a pretty solid playoff matchups.
That's
And
fair.
the other guy is still Derrick Henry. I mean, he faces Houston 2 times in the next 3 weeks. He has always been doing well versus Houston. Just last year, if I remember correctly, yeah, he had 35.8 points versus Houston. Then he had a 20 pointer the second game. And the year prior, he missed the year prior due to injury. But 2020, he had, 34 points back in December as well, and then 40 points. I mean, he usually just plays really good versus the Houston Texans. It's sort of like when T.Y. Hilton used to do very well versus the Texans as well. It's just
Hmm.
one of those matchups that the players just strive in, I guess. So I definitely think he's a league winner that's gonna do pretty well in the playoffs. And then a guy that I sort of wish that he just does well, it's Stephon Diggs because he seems like the type of guy who would turn things up later in the season. But I'm sort of worried about Stephon Diggs.
You think that he might be the start, or at least starting the decline?
Not sure if it's that or if it's just something's wrong with the connection with Josh Allen because he has been.
It hasn't been wrong the rest like any other time.
Yeah, but it's like I've seen passes that I know Stephon Diggs makes those plays and he just drops them. And it's very uncharacteristic from Stephon Diggs. And you know that he's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, whatever. He's a very emotional guy. I'm not sure what's happening there. It seems like now that they had a Dalton Kincaid and they are trying to pass the ball around more, they're trying to focus more on the run game. James Cook has been emerging from that backfield. I'm
Okay.
not sure if he hasn't being sort of brushed aside in terms of you're not getting the whole cake every time. You're getting your slice and you're gonna live with it. And for football purposes, that's probably not too bad. For fantasy football, I am not so sure, and I don't feel too confident that he's gonna turn this around this year.
So, at what point do we start? I'm going to change the subject a little bit. At what point do we start lowering the value of Justin Jefferson just based on this season? Or do
Never,
you? Never.
never.
Never. Okay, I'm just curious.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I like the value on wide receivers so much versus the value being tied up on running backs. It's just that these injuries happen, and those guys don't really lose any value. I mean, Justin Jefferson missed almost the full season, and he is the fourth highest ranked asset on Keep Trade Cut in terms
Should
of
he be?
superflex. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
These
I'm just asking questions here. I'm just,
these are not the type of injuries that linger long term, and they are not even related. I mean, this is a chest injury, and I'm not even sure if it's gonna linger. Because what I heard today was that he was just questionable, if I'm not mistaken. So he has a chance to play this week. And yeah, even though he missed the full season, he is still the number one non QB asset on Keep Trade Cut in Superflex. And in regular, he is the number one asset, tied with Chase. Are you worried though? Because you are a Justin Jefferson owner in our league.
I'm a Jefferson earlier in multiple leagues. No, I'm not worried.
Okay.
Funny enough, having Justin Jefferson might have got me Marvin Harrison Jr. in another league.
Oh yeah, because of that's the league that you traded for him, and it just
Yeah, I
went
moved
downhill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I moved Tyreek Hill. Yeah. So
But yeah, I am not concerned whatsoever. And if you find someone who is, just go trade for Justin Jefferson, like I was trying to do here. But Angelo
I'm
isn't concerned. So it
just
is
asking
what it
questions here.
is.
I'm just asking questions here.
Um, but yeah,
Oh, sorry. So was Jamar's Chase game against? Like, it doesn't seem like he has the same connection with Browning as he does with Burrow. No duh. But is that would that be a concern to you as far as the playoffs go, not necessarily as far as his value, because Joe Burrow will be back next season?
I mean, it's definitely a concern. I would be much happier if he was catching balls from Joe Burrow. But I mean, in the end of the day, he had a pretty bad game this week. Only 4 targets, 3 catches, 29 yards. But they were up for most of that game, so they could lean on the run game more. They introduced more workload to Chase Brown,
Mm-hmm.
so they weren't really using the wide receivers that much. He almost had a touchdown there as well. So if he caught that touchdown, it's a non-conversation. He would have had, I don't know, around 12, 13, 14 points, which is not what you expect from your wide receiver one. But it's something that you can live with.
Yeah.
So I think you just sort of have to play him. I mean, the week prior he had 32 points, so
Right. Right.
you
Yeah.
really can't bench him and just miss those. Now, one question, because you were a previous Bijan Robinson owner,
I
and you
was.
you traded him off during the off season, and we talked about him quite a bit, him being involved in Atlanta,
If I'm not
and
mistaken, the haul I got back was 3 firsts, 3 seconds, 3 thirds, 3 fourths, and George Pickens.
didn't you get another player as well, like Michael Meyer or something like that? I think so.
Yes, Michael Mayer. Yeah. Funny
Yeah,
enough, I actually moved both the players to acquire Kamara and
Andrews.
Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm very happy with the deal because it like started like a compounding effect where this one deal has now turned into multiple deals, and I have, if I'm not mistaken, um,
You also ended up
two of
trading,
the three first still. But go on, sorry.
and you traded the package that you got, Camara and Andrews, for
Yep.
DK and Bits to me.
And
So
I like that long term as
okay.
well.
But what I was saying was at a
Wouldn't you?
point. No, I would. But what I'm getting to is that at a point we did mention that you probably got a haul at that time, and that it's the value
I
probably wouldn't get there anytime soon because of his huge usage and because of how Atlanta looked. But now Bijan has played 77% of the Atlanta Falcons' offensive snaps this past
mhm.
week, and he has
Yep.
finished as a top 12 running back in weekly PPR scoring in 3 of the last 4 games. As the tide shifted, and it's now Bijan Robinson could net you that same value right now, or even more.
I don't know if he could net me more, but yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
current
do I think the tide has shifted and you could get
more
um
than what you got at the time, or at least the same amount.
probably not.
Okay.
Go
Yes.
to keep trade cut and see where he's at as far as value goes, because I'm pretty sure he was the undisputed running back one.
Now, for the time, he was running back 2 Oh no, 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 he wasn't. I'm messing that up. Now he is still the undisputed running back one. It has increased the gap somewhat, and he is now in tier one with Jefferson, Chase, CD. The gap,
So maybe yes.
the gap. Oh no, my bad. He's still in tier two by himself. So the gap between him and CD is around 600 points. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty much where his value has always been. So at least in standard, in superflex, it has changed somewhat. It has been, yeah, it has more spikes, but it's now is in what? Uh, Bijan Robinson. He's now on tier four. He's the top of the tier four, and he is the fourth position player outside of QBs, of course. So he's roughly the same in both formats. But I sort of think you can get more now for him.
Think so? I don't know.
Mm,
I
yeah,
think that's kind of. I think that's kind of hopium, but we'll see. I think it more or less depends on what happens with the Atlanta Falcons. I think if like there's a major shift or they get a quarterback, I think his value is going to increase. So I think there's still some place to go up.
I'm not sure. I always sort of try to tread carefully with running backs, and it's
Mhm.
like a cat and mouse game. And it's like you sort of need to hit the right time to sell him, because as I said, an injury just derails all of that. In
Yes.
Brees has never been that high. Again, I mean, he's right now he's running back four. He's 13 overall, and it's hard for me to make an argument that you should buy Brees Hall at this value.
I
So
mean, I like Brees Hall better than Bijan, but that's just me.
really,
Yeah.
even though he's gonna be 23 next season,
Yes.
and he
Absolutely.
has all of those touches from college.
Yes.
Hmm. You know something interesting? This past week, you know who was the starting running back for the Jets? It wasn't Brees Hall.
It wasn't Dalvin Cook either, so who was it?
No, it was Dalvin Cook. He was like
Oh,
the
it was?
guy, the guy on the team sheet who was listed as the starter. Like he probably didn't play the more snaps than Brees, and I don't think he did, but he was listed as the starter.
That's how this is how you can tell Aaron Rodgers is close to coming back.
Randall Cobb got a touchdown. The band is getting back together.
Yeah. That's what that is to me.
Yeah. Did no, I don't think he got activated. I was wondering if Lazard got activated because he was inactive for a few weeks. But no, he is still inactive. They have effectively said, move along, kid. You're not needed here. You've been doing nothing. But I'm guessing that eventually we'll be back. I wonder why. I'm still not 100% sure he's gonna be back, Aaron Rodgers. But I have
Yeah.
I have heard that he is targeting the Christmas Eve Sunday. So he's targeting a return on Christmas Eve. Or at least he's gonna be medically cleared by then. I still can't buy it. Do
Yeah, I
you
can't buy it either.
do you think he plays? And if he plays, assuming he comes back on Christmas Eve, that's his first game of the season. And on Christmas Eve, the New York Jets will be facing. So Christmas Eve, it's Washington. So on week 16, would you, as a playoff team, start Aaron Rodgers versus the putrid Washington Commanders defense?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you
It's the only defense that I have any confidence can't hurt him.
you would you
Yeah.
would start a guy who tore his Achilles
Yes.
like less than what 4 months ago,
Yes.
or even 3 months ago. His first game back.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Absolutely would.
I don't think I have the balls to do that.
You bet I do.
And I might have like I might have the chance to because my QBs have a pretty rough matchup in that week if I make it through. So it's gonna be either Flacco or Aaron Rodgers, and I'm scared. I am very scared.
I would, but that's just me.
Like
I'm not in the
last year,
playoffs.
if I'm not mistaken, last year I played Zach Wilson in my first playoff game. So let's see if this repeats itself.
Oh man, I just I don't know. I
So
just can't.
you were mentioning that in your leagues, your fantasy football leagues, you made the playoffs in none of your dynasty leagues.
Yep.
And you made the playoffs in every single one of your redraft leagues.
Yes, I did.
Do you think that's just a mindset thing? That you are usually more open to rebuilding in dynasty than you are at, like, of course you can rebuild in redraft, but when
Right.
you put your chips on the table and you draft well and you got a good team, you can manage it through, but you usually prefer a rebuild.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: in Dynasty, the goal is to make a team I can't make in redraft. That's the goal. Like
No
it,
matter how many years you play
yes.
and it
So
takes you.
I will say some of it's just bad luck. Like the one Dynasty team that didn't make the playoffs that actually ended up getting what's probably going to be the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick has Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Kenneth Walker, Mark Andrews. Like you can't make that team in redraft if you tried.
Yeah.
So
Everyone is hurt there.
yeah, yeah, it was just bad luck. So it's not that I don't have playoff caliber teams in Dynasty. It's just that this year has been rough.
Yeah, because what I know from you and some of our dynasty leagues, I think we play in three dynasty leagues in which we're both in. And Dynasty Nas, you've been rebuilding for quite a while, even though you had a pretty okay team. I understand why you did it. Then you had the Manning League, which I don't think you have ever been competitive on from the
Yeah,
years
you're
that
not
you've
wrong
been
about
there.
that.
And then there's the Star Wars League, and that's when you try to be competitive,
Mm-hmm.
and you build a pretty good team last year, and you pulled an Alex, so you lost in the first round while
Yep.
being the first seed.
Yep.
And now you're somehow in the gutter with me. We're
Yeah.
both in the gutter in that league.
And I don't have any of my picks.
You don't have any of your picks because you traded all of them.
Yep. The good
So,
news is I have CD Lamb.
well,
Like,
that is definitely good news. It's better to have CD than none.
yeah.
But that leads me to, in your opinion, now that the regular season is over and basically the seeds are being set for the playoffs, and now people are entering the toilet bowl as well, the teams that didn't make the playoffs. How risky do you think it usually is to deal future picks?
What do you mean?
So, for example, in my case, I've been dealing future picks for quite a while.
Yes.
And what I usually get, especially when I trade with you, is just the assumption that the pick will be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately assumption that it's gonna be like 14 to 16 in our case.
Yes.
But like this is
Is there
fantasy
someone who
football.
doesn't assume that?
I mean, I usually tend to not to because I know that my team, even if they make the playoffs, they will choke round one. So, like worst case scenario, no, best case scenario, it's always gonna be like a top 12 pick. in my in my idea. But scenarios like the one that happened this year happens as well. Like this is fantasy football. Players get hurt. You can make trades sometimes. And I almost missed the playoffs, and that would mean my pick would be a top eight pick when I dealt it as around a top 16, bottom what four pick in the league. How risky it is usually to deal those picks, and how are you
Oh, it's very
comfortable?
risky.
Yeah, how are you comfortable with dealing those picks? Like, how far ahead in the future are you comfortable with dealing those picks?
Acquiring or dealing?
Dealing. So is there like a after this year I won't trade a pick. So it's like I can deal 2024, I won't deal 2025. Is there any sort of rules that you impose yourself when you're trading picks in the future?
No, no.
No?
If I'm trying to get a chip, there is no rules to me.
Okay. So it's just go overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I usually agree with you outside of the 32 team league.
Outside
That
of the what?
league of the 32 team league because that one has so many intricacies. How do you say the word in English now?
Intricate
No, like C's, the one that ends in C's.
intricacies?
Intricacies. Exactly. My bad. That is, I just think it's way too risky to deal picks other than like the immediate future, especially high picks. So in that league, I won't trade anything past the 2024 round, for example. Now next year I can trade 2025. So it's like something that I do year by year. But outside of that, I agree with you. Even in that type of league, which is a pretty big deal, a pretty big league with plenty of spots, would you still be comfortable with dealing? Like, say, next year, if you just decide it's time to go for it, would you still be comfortable with dealing those picks
Yeah,
in
probably.
that type of league? Okay.
Yep.
Because you
Okay.
can in that league. Because next year, your division is wide open.
Yeah, but my
So
team's
just,
still bad, so
but it's not the worst or second worst in that division after the other teams blow it up. So
yeah.
you're at least the second best.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. So, what is your opinion on imposing trade deadlines for playoffs? Because I've seen a lot of, and I've been in a lot of leagues where you cannot make trades in the playoffs, but I noticed our Dynasty Nas League does not have that same restriction. So, what is your opinion on like trade deadlines and stuff like that?
I guess it depends on how you played. Like for example, my first Dynasty League was Dynasty Nas. And that league never had a deadline. We can trade all year, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I sort of been accustomed to that, and I understand why people don't like the like trade all year because you make the playoffs and teams who didn't make it can just sell off their assets for cheap and just make a super team. And like I've done that. I've traded my assets after losing around, not for cheap, but cheaper than I usually would because I knew that after the season was done, it would decline in value. But it's like if one team can make that trade, so can the other. So it still evens the playing field, and I don't really see an issue with it as long as you have a responsive and mostly active league. But I like both formats to be honest. One of them makes it so you have more urgency in your trades and you have to set up things way too early. But it can be more punishing than no deadlines. Because for example, say you set up your team for the playoffs, you made all of the trades prior to the deadline, but then now you had, for example, you had Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert goes down, and CJ Stroud, you had CJ Stroud as well, and he goes down. So now this week you're starting pretty bad QBs because I'm guessing if you start both in a Superflex league, for example, Dynasty Superflex, the wire is probably way too bad, and you won't have any sort of replacement options that are any good. So now you made the playoffs. You might even be a first seed, but now because of luck of the draw, you just end up losing round one because you don't have any QBs and you can't make any trades. Seems really punishing, and I would push more for no deadline leagues, just trade all season. And I think some people who criticize it haven't really been playing a whole lot in those types of leagues. I guess when money gets involved, because most of my leagues are free leagues, not money leagues. When money gets
Yes.
involved, then I guess you sort of have to set out those boundaries because some people might. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to accuse anyone or anything, but like shady things happen sometimes. And there's like
Mhm.
maybe trades get made that aren't giving the full value to the person, but someone is getting something aside. Those things happen. I've heard plenty of reports on it. So, but in free leagues, at least, I would push for no deadline. What
Hmm.
about you? You play in both as well? Who do you like? What do you prefer?
It doesn't really matter to me, I guess at the end of the day. Um, I think I would rather have it all year round because I am very good at like finagling win now pieces into future first. So I guess I think I would prefer the
The year
just
round?
have trades all year round.
Yeah.
That's
Regardless of being a paid or free league?
yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I'm more even if there's money on the line, I'm more of it should be a wild, wild west. And if there's really something that's really egregious, you should make a rule for it. But unless it's something that's like completely like egregious and unethical, like just let them do what they want to do. Like,
But in that case, like, say for example, I make the playoffs and other
yep.
teams don't. And
Hmm.
it's year-round trading, and it's a money league. I don't know, $1,500 buy-in, and some team who missed the playoffs has like a Derrick Henry, for example.
Yep.
The two like best teams in the league both offer a second-round pick, and some shady things happen, and one of them gets it without paying any sort of extra because some promise was made that he gets some piece of the pie if said team wins. How do you even prove that? It's like both teams offered the second, and he took one of the offers, so it's not really
I don't
gonna be
care.
super impactful.
I was reading on Reddit, someone had a stipulation that if they did a deal, that the person benefiting in the deal would let the person not benefiting bang his wife. Like, hey, like you're gonna give the Alex response. I can't prove this. I can't like if he reneges on this deal or if he goes back on this deal. I can't enforce it in any way, but if you if you guys can come to it, that's kind of the thing. Like it's
Okay,
it's
so
the it's the
so
Wild West.
so just put stipulations on it that might or might not be feasible.
I don't care.
Okay.
If you are dealing with someone and you are putting stipulations in that the other person will not abide by, and he doesn't abide by it, that's on you. That's you got to know who you can trust. That's kind of the thing. Sometimes you got to get screwed. You got to get screwed to know, okay, I can't do anything special or crazy with this dude because this dude is just thinking about it to his own benefit. Like he's not in it for like earning respect. And not only that, like if you do shady things, eventually enough league mates will like pick on it and it'll affect you during trades as you know firsthand.
Yeah. It's
there's
not.
a reason that there's a reason when we had Luke on, I specifically asked him what it's like training with both of us. And did you pay attention to his response?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did.
Exa- exactly.
Well, to be frank, we do like to trade with each other, you and me. So
Yeah.
those trades happen quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I usually tend to be the guy who makes the most trades out of any league
Yeah.
that I'm in. So
Yeah. No, you do.
just people might not like it. The ways that I deal and the ways that
Yeah.
I that I talk about some of the players
But
that they
that's
have on
reflected.
shop.
That's reflected in the price.
Yeah, in the price.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I'm not sure if it's how I come across sometimes, or if it's just that I usually tend to have good teams in the leagues that I care about, that increases the price. So I'm still
It
not
might be that.
sure which one of the two is it. Because there's players, there's like guys who trade with me, and like plenty of leagues, like across plenty of leagues. For example, Alex Miller, who I'm facing this week. He trades with me in both the NAS and the 32 team league, and he always asks for the Alex tax in the 32 team league. He doesn't
Of
ask for
course.
it in the NAS league. So
He
that,
he doesn't ask for the Alex tack in the why not?
yeah, my guess it's that, or at least to the same extent as he asks for as he asks for in the 32 team league. So, like for example, in the 32 team league, he might ask for more extra to make the deal happen, while in the NAS league, it's usually just first offer, whatever, or sometimes I need to add a extra. So it's a very minor Alex tax when it happens. So it just leads me to believe that sometimes it's just the ways that teams are set up. And when the teams, for example, if it's one good team trading with one bad team, it's sort of like trying to mitigate how good the team is. So asking for more, trying to bring the competition level down somewhat, what is feasible. And when like it's two good teams, you just don't really care about that as much. It's like you just try to make your team better, and that's that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no, it's hard. It's firsthand knowledge. It's hard to be a rebuilding team. It is really hard.
yeah, you know about that quite a bit.
I do. I built this team in our one league from the ground up, and you saw it.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty good right now.
Yep.
Maybe I'm just gonna need you to move away. Just go to a new division.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
what'll be crazy is if and I'm not sure if I'm gonna. Let's talk about what your plans are for the off season. I'm guessing that depends on what happens in the playoffs, but like one thing I've been wondering or debating on is if I would move my late first if I don't plan on using them, and then try to get even more first in the future. Just try to keep the train moving. I don't know.
in the not, do you even have your first in the NOS league?
Not that I have no first this year, but I have 5 or 6 firsts in the next 2 years. So I mean, like starting 2025, if I
Oh,
don't like the players, move the first, try to get more picks, go to 2027, 2028, 2029. Just hey,
yeah, there is definitely a way to do it, but at some point you need to address some glaring holes on your team, and for
running
that
back.
you might, yeah, especially running back. And at some point, I think you have to deal those first in order to fix the issue, unless you're
That's fair
just
as well.
pouring just patches on that, because you can trade like the seconds and the thirds for lesser guys, but it's just gonna be like years that maybe don't even hold up for long.
Yeah.
So it's just I guess you can do it a few times. Just flip those picks, get the extra. Maybe you can even trade the extra for some potential solution to the issue at hand. But eventually you need to address it straight on. So at some I'm not sure if it's not even better to do it straight away.
Interesting. Maybe. Oh, you there?
Sorry.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. Just some cough.
No, you're good. I'm sick too. Sicko, sicko, sicko. Mm.
So,
Are you excited for the Christmas special?
oh, I am. I am.
Okay.
Is there been a discussion on like a decision on the date? I don't think so because I gave my thoughts earlier
Oh,
today.
oh, you did? I didn't even see him.
Yeah, it's just that I usually don't get the notifications unless you tag me.
Okay.
So that's why I answered right away yesterday. But yeah, did you see anything regard? You probably didn't watch the game, but did you see anything regardless? Will Levis on Monday Night Football?
No, I didn't see any Will Levis, but from the looks of it, he balled out.
Yeah, that is probably his. I gotta say second best because his debut was pretty good. That is probably his second best game. Although the touchdowns were there, and he did throw a pick six.
Call me crazy. I think they're gonna give him a full season next year and see where they're at.
Ah,
I think it's gonna happen.
I'm still not sure about that.
I think it's gonna happen, dude. They're gonna give him a full season, dude. I'm telling you. I'm not
I'm
saying like he's the answer, but A, he's currently the best quarterback in Tennessee. And B, I think if you give him a full off season, obviously this year he was drafted, brought in, he's learning things. If next year he comes in and he has more of the games that we saw, like his debut game and last night, he's got it. I think they'll give him another shot. I think they're going to give him another shot next year. That's my thought.
Because if you think that, and I'm not sure which way I lean, I have leaned towards he's just a 1 year patch. But last night's game was pretty impressive. I gotta give him that. I mean, he
I
did pull
think
the
it'll be
comeback.
dependent on how he finishes the year, more or less. But I do
Yeah.
think that they're going to give him the reins next year and then see what they got. And then if they need to address it, address it. But
Okay, so let's do this or that on Will Levis
okay, hit
in
me with it.
Superflex.
Hit me with it.
Because I think that even though I'm not his biggest fan, looking at this, it might be a buy because this is Superflex rankings, and these are some of the guys that are near him, like inside of the same tier. Will Levis or David Njoku?
Levis.
Will Levis or a 2026 mid second?
Oh, Will Levis.
Will Levis or a 2025 late second?
Will Levis.
Will Levis or Tyler Lockett?
I'll go spicy. Will Levis.
Okay. Will Levis or the guy who catches balls for him, DeAndre Hopkins?
Will Levis.
Okay. Will Levis or the Mario Douglas?
Will Levis.
So it seems like he might be a buy. Let me give you a few more names. Will Levis, or let me jump a tier actually, because this tier seems pretty iffy. But let me jump a tier and say Will Levis or Jared Goff.
Hmm. Jared Goff.
Okay. Will Levis or Kendre Miller.
Oh, Will Levis.
Okay. Will Levis or Bryce Young.
Oh, that's painful. Oh, we're gonna go Bryce Young for now, but I don't feel good about saying that.
Okay. Will Levis or Jordan Love. Our
Jordan Love.
guy.
Jordan Love,
Okay.
dude.
And finally, Will Levis or Quentin Johnston.
Give me QJ.
Okay, so it seems like keep trade cuts. All of the QBs that I mentioned are ahead of him, and most of the players that I mentioned, or even all of the players that I mentioned are ahead of him on keep trade cut. All of them. So it seems like he should be higher, but it's probably just a tier or so. Probably nothing more than that. But yeah, maybe he is a buy
Maybe.
because he is below some of the guys that, like the guys that I mentioned. I think I would take him over all of them as well in the same tier, not the QBs and all of that, but the Mario Douglases, the Hopkins, the Lockett's, the Njokus, the Shuba Hubbard, for example. He's also in here. The picks, I think I would take them all. Oh my God, English is hard today. I would take him over all of them at this point. So yeah, he might be undervalued. If you think he gets another start next year, he's currently QB 19 in Superflex on Keep Trade Cut. So he has been
Okay.
rising. Yeah, like October 25, he was QB 30. So pretty solid rise.
Oh, sorry. No, I agree with that. I think that's a pretty good buy.
Okay. You have them in one league, if I'm not mistaken. That would both play in.
Yeah, fortunately.
Okay.
I might send some offers out for him just to see.
All right. Yeah. He had a pretty solid game this past Monday. I mean, I took some notes out of that game, and you didn't see any of it, did you?
I did not see any of it, man. I
Okay.
was conked out.
Okay. So, just a brief review. The game was 13-10 entering the fourth. Tennessee led with 5 minutes left. Tennessee is up by 7. Oh no, my bad. Miami led with 5 minutes left. Miami is up by 7. After a botched handoff by Tennessee with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, Miami goes up 27-13. So 4 minutes left. There's a two-score lead over Tennessee.
Hmm.
Tennessee scores a touchdown with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. They go for two, so now they're down 21-27, and Miami goes three and out. So Tennessee goes back, scores a touchdown, and there's roughly like 2 minutes left. There's 1 minute and 49, so past the 2 minute warning. Miami goes three and not out, but it's third and short, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, third and three at Miami 44, and they throw a swing pass to A Chain. Like so, a pass that it's almost like a handoff because it's just so behind the line of scrimmage. Line of scrimmage was
Yeah.
44. They throw a pass to 38. So now instead of 3 yards, he needs to get like 7 or 8. Just mind-boggling play calling there from a team that I expected a bit more from. So yeah, effectively, Will Levis won a game in which he was down 27-13 with 4 minutes and change left.
Pretty
Pretty
clutch.
impressive. Yeah, pretty impressive. And the
Are you
touchdown was pretty nice.
are you sure you're confident in this Miami defense as the 1 seed?
Uh, I am not confident
Okay.
that much, but that's why they're not the first team in my power rankings. They're the
Oh,
third.
okay. Okay.
Like I'm getting to a point in which my hot take right now is that Buffalo also wins the division. So Buffalo wins the division and the Super Bowl.
Buffalo wins the division and the Super Bowl.
Yes. Lock it in, fellas.
Wow. That would be a cursed season. Just
It would be a season of breaking curses for Buffalo. And the Bills are currently plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl.
you're saying put it in?
Put it in.
Okay.
Send in the bet.
I don't know, man.
So, any of the leagues that you're currently in the playoffs in, do you think you have a chance of winning out of those
Yeah,
leagues?
yeah.
Like which one of them?
Would you like me to name off this roster going into the playoffs?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, Big Money Fantasy League. This is what it's called. Not. Come on. Load into the league. Oh, that's the chats. This guy. Okay. Quarterback Jake Browning.
The GOAT.
It gets better after this. Running back Brees Hall. Kenneth Walker. Wide receivers Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Devontae Smith.
Okay.
Tight end TJ Hawkinson, and Jacksonville's special teams and kicker.
Okay. Really solid team.
I have the number one tight end. I have, if I'm not mistaken, if CD's not the number one wide receiver in points this year, he's close. I
Yeah.
have three, well, at least two wide receivers that could drop 30 in any given day, and Devontae is usually solid.
Yeah. City
So,
second because Tyreek Hill exists.
oh yeah, Tyreek Hill. I forgot about that. And yeah, I have two running backs who could go off at any given. Yeah, I feel good about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, just as good of a chance as anyone else.
What about the league that we're both in? Do you like your chances in that one?
Oh, the one where I stacked Miami and
And Green Bay. Yeah.
I got the wide receiver one.
You had the
I,
wide receiver one.
I've got just as good a chance as any. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I'm also in the
And
playoffs in that
Kelsey.
league.
And
I
Kelsey.
I managed to get in that league somehow, some way. I
So yeah.
started 1-6, and I'm in.
What are the matchups?
In that league, I face your arch rival, and you face Cameron,
And I'm projected to lose against Cameron.
friend of the show, Cameron,
Yeah.
previous guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm projected to win in that one. After a 1-6 start, I went 6-1. So just getting in at 500 is my jam this year.
It's your jam. Yep.
I can only wait for next week when I come in here and I'm just crying because I lost every single playoff game that I care about. Just know that it's coming.
There you go. So,
Yes.
how do you think these playoffs are gonna shape up?
Outside of me losing all of them,
You think you're gonna lose all of them?
I'm I'm mostly worried about three. I wanna win the Nas, of course. That's the big one. I wanna win the 32 team league, and then I wanna win the 101 in Manning phase with a QB, a single QB. It's all I have right now. And if Rodgers comes back, then I have no QB. So that's gonna be fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah, outside of that, like the money leagues, I've been eliminated from both. I just have one, but it's very small buy-in, and I lost my QB. I had Mac Jones and I had Danny Dimes. Both are done, I guess. Mac isn't really done, but it's pretty much done. So, but that's a pretty deep league. Some teams don't even have a QB because that's another 32 team league, but it's just normal rosters. I have a pretty solid record there, but it's gonna go downhill. I just lost to a team who, oh, if I don't, yeah, I am 24-4 because that's a median league. So you play two matchups every single week, and I lost to an 8-20 an 8-20 team. So it's going downhill fast.
Ah, gotta love it.
Yeah, playoffs, baby. Those are back,
I can't believe
and
football's almost over, man.
yeah, it always flies by. It's just so weird, isn't it? How they always fly by.
Yeah.
Should we finish? Because it feels like we have done
Stagnate.
our bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Should
I
we
think
finish
so,
with
yeah.
another movie review?
Oh, this guy. What do you want?
Yeah, have you seen any movies recently?
No, because
No?
I've been sick.
Okay.
We usually do like me and my girlfriend usually do like a date night where we usually go see a movie, but we haven't done that in a while. The last one I remember we saw was A Haunting in Venice, which was really good. By the
Okay.
way,
I saw
you
that
should
as
go.
well.
Okay, what did
Okay.
you think about A Haunting in Venice?
It's I should preface this by saying that I go to the movies roughly once a week. So it's just Saturdays, it's usually what I do with the girlfriend. We just go catch dinner, go catch a movie. That's that. And I saw that a few weeks ago, or like month. I guess it came out last month or something, or even the other one prior. Okay. Um, I liked it, but hauntings are generally not the type of movies that I go for. Even though that one has all of the like the mystery, the crime, all of that. So I like the first and I like the first one the best. But then between the second and the third, I gotta think I also prefer the second one over. So that one was like the worst to me. It's not a bad movie, but I rather watch the first and the second one. Did you see the
See, I
first and
liked
the
it a lot.
second one?
I did not.
No. Okay.
I did not realize A Haunting in Venice was like a, I
So
guess like a series of movies going.
So yeah, it's a series of movies. It's not like not all of them are in Venice, not all of them are about hauntings, but it's always with the detective who gets called because he's a famous detective and he gets called because there's a crime or there's about to be a crime or purely because he knows someone who's doing something fun. So the first one was in Train. It had Johnny Depp. It had a few more known actors, if I'm not mistaken. It had Julian Moore, if I'm not mistaken. The second one, the lead was Gal Gadot. So first one was in a train. He gets called because there's about to be a murder or there was a murder, and it's like you're playing Cluedo, to be honest. So I like the first one the better. Then the second one they go to Egypt, and it's an okay movie. It's not as good as the first one, but it's okay. And this one, it's the one that I like the least because of the hauntings and all of that. It's still a solid movie, but it's not really a series in terms of being like one, two, three, four. But it's like they're inspired in books, if I'm not mistaken. And there's like one in which he goes to Venice, as we saw. There's one in which he goes to the train. There's one in which he goes to Egypt. So it's just like an adventure series, I guess. So yeah,
Gotcha.
you if you like that one, you should probably check the first and the second one. The first one, Crime and Or yeah, Crime in the Orient Express is the first one. Murder on the Orient Express is the first one.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting.
Yeah, so it's like
Sorry, wanted to watch that.
yeah, it's not
So
really any sort of connection in terms of like the name of the movie, but it's basically the same thing. And then the other one is Death on the Nile.
hmm,
Yeah. So the Death in the Nile, it had Gal Gadot, as I said. It had one of the guys that has since been sort of like canceled. The Emmer guy, they're brothers. They're the brothers who did the network movie, the movie about Facebook. What's the
yeah,
name? Army Hammer. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's the guy who has been canceled since. So yeah, those are pretty much on track. If you like those movies, you should probably check those two. And I would think that you like the first one the best. But what did you like in the movie?
I liked as he broke down like what he believed everyone was doing. Like he just had a very astute eye for everything, and it was honestly very entertaining.
Okay, so yeah,
Like I actually never thought there was an actual haunting. I thought it was just going to be like a person at the end, and it was pretty much a person at the end. But
yeah. Then
hmm,
I think you will like the first one the best then, because that one has a whole lot of mystery, a whole lot of figuring things out, and then it has a pretty solid plot twist in the end. So definitely give that one a look.
which is Murder on the Oriental Express.
Yes, that's the first one that came out. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that one.
Okay.
I watched on the in the cinema. I tried to catch the holiday something. The one. No, it's Thanksgiving Murder. That's it. Thanksgiving Murder. Who's a or just Thanksgiving, I guess. Which is a horror movie. It's a slasher with Patrick Dempsey. I think that's gonna be a pretty good movie. I'm gonna try and watch it on Saturday. I'm not sure if I will be able to, but that's a pretty solid movie. But what I did watch this past weekend was on Netflix was the movie with Kevin Bacon and what else? There's like the other guy who's always like Kevin Bacon. I think they're pretty much alike. Ethan Wood, isn't it?
Hmm. I think so. Yeah.
No, Ethan Hawke. My bad. Ethan Hawke. So the movie was Leave the World Behind.
Okay. I've never seen it.
Have you heard about it? Okay, no.
No.
So it's on Netflix, should be in America as well. And it's a train wreck, man. It's just like the movie has some nice details and it's shot somewhat nicely. I like some of the angles that the director took and the producer took. But the movie really just falls flat on its face in the end to me. It's just like I would like a more satisfying conclusion, and it seems like you're just walking around and just doing spins, walking in circles, and you just end up knowing basically nothing. So it's about a family that goes on a getaway trip to a luxurious rental home. Then it's like the actual owner of the house comes back, so it's an Airbnb, and the owner comes back, and the owner, I believe, works in cybersecurity. And then while they are there, there's like a massive attack to the country, so to America, a massive cybersecurity attack. But it really doesn't develop anything further. It's just shows you what the dynamics are between the characters. But other than that, it's really lacklusting to be honest.
Hmm.
So really, really disappointed by 2.5 hours of my life being wasted in that movie. because it had a pretty solid cast. I mean, it had Julia Roberts, Marshall Ali, it had Ethan Hawke, for example, as well. So Kevin Bacon as well. Pretty solid cast, and it just sort of fell flat on his face.
I remember seeing this movie like it must have been the last day it was in theaters because I swear it was on DVD like the very next week after we saw it in theaters. And it was Bullet Train.
Oh, that movie was great.
It was crazy, but it was fun.
Yeah, I liked it.
My girlfriend really liked it. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Um,
Who was your
it
favorite characters?
oh, it's definitely the I never know their names. Let me catch the movie here
Bullet
so I
Train.
can tell
Yeah,
you
I
the
need
proper
to.
name.
Yep.
So my favorite character was between Tangerine and Lemon,
Yeah,
like
Tangerine.
the
Yes,
brother.
yes,
Like
yes,
those are
yes.
just priceless, man. Like
The,
probably Lemon more than Tangerine, but I liked both of them.
they were both so funny, dude.
Yeah. Aaron Taylor Johnson is a really great actor, man. It's the guy who did Tangerine.
Uh-huh.
So, and he's gonna do Craven the Hunter from Marvel.
Hmm.
Yeah. And he is the guy who played Kick-Ass. You, I mean, I gotta believe you have watched Kick-Ass, no?
No, I haven't.
You have not watched Kick-Ass.
I have not watched Kick-Ass.
Okay, you need to watch Kick-Ass. It's great. The first one. Second one is whatever.
The
But the
second.
first one is great. Yeah, first one is great. It's basically a superhero movie that makes fun of superhero movies, and it's pretty brutal sometimes. So it's just like a random guy who decides to be a superhero, and like he doesn't get it at the every single break that you usually watch in superhero movies, and where he just gets like I don't know lucky or gets like a sick teacher or gets powers. No, it's just a random dude who puts on a mask and gets beat up because he's a random kid who's graduating from high school. So he just takes beating after beating. But it's a fun movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's played the main character is the guy who played Tangerine. Of course, now that was roughly 13 years ago,
Yeah,
so quite a while. But yeah, I really like Bullet Train as well.
it was so good.
One movie that I really didn't like that I watched, and I guess we'll finish on this, that I watched a few weeks ago, I believe, like start of the month or end of November, whatever. But it was Napoleon.
I
You probably,
wanted to see that.
yeah, man.
Is it crazy? Is it
Gotta
good?
say, no,
It's
I
not
did not
good?
like it. No, I did not like it whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah, the trailer makes it seem really great,
It
right?
makes it seem epic, dude. Like
Yeah,
like you get to see the wars and you get to see like all the effed up stuff he does. Like, ah,
yeah, no, man.
no?
The trailer is like 10 times better than the movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because like I am not a major history buff, but I do appreciate the time and the era that Napoleon was around.
Yeah.
So I like that era of history. So I'm a bit into it, I guess. So I went into that movie with some expectations. And that movie is terrible because it really doesn't portray how Napoleon was. I think my take on the movie is that it's way too biased due to the producer's nationality.
Do
So
the say
Ridley
that again?
Scott. No, I said that it's I think the movie is way too biased towards now against the French due to Ridley Scott's nationality. So Ridley Scott, he is from the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. so is British, and it really shows in the movie. I mean, just everything that he did in real life, it's really like it's turned into nothing. Basically, it's like they just minimize everything. Like his accomplishments are thrown aside. He's portrayed as someone who like isn't a tactical genius, who is like really awkward, which he sort of was, but it turns it up to like 100. It's not an accurate portrait of the dude. It's my take on it. It's just like they are undermining everything that he did, and they are undermining his in his innovations and when it comes to war and when it comes to the reforms that he did while he led France.
Hmm.
So plus it doesn't really show that many of the battles, especially the big one that's sort of led to his downfall there in the end.
Well,
It
Waterloo.
yeah, Waterloo really doesn't show you a whole lot of Waterloo and shows you even less of the one of I never remember the names of the battles, the one versus the Russians, in which he just tries to invade Russia. He just goes through Moscow, and
I
then they have
forget
that
what
battle.
that's called.
Yeah, I never know the names, but it's the one in the winter. And then when he's retreating, he just gets attacked from all flanks by the Russians. It shows you barely nothing from that battle. Waterloo, it still shows you something. That one, it's absolutely nothing. It
Did
doesn't show you anything from Spain as well. So like those are the
okay.
two big moments from like
I was
his
gonna say,
empire
did it
falling.
show the battle where he was retreating? I believe this is what he did. He was retreating, and he did something along the lines of um retreat through a lake, and then he had catapults positioned, and then he catapulted the lake as the army was trying to engage him, and it like broke half of the opponent. They didn't show anything like that.
Yeah, that showed some like show parts of it. It showed it didn't show how do I say it? It didn't really show the lead up to it, but it showed that part, and that part was pretty good. But
Yeah.
it's such a smaller like they showed less of that battle than they showed of Waterloo, for example. So it's sort of like the battles that he was pretty smart on and that he won are sort of shorter than the ones in which he was embarrassed in and they lost. So you can see there's like two weights and two measures basically. Plus, like it focused way too much on Josephine, in my opinion. It's like if I didn't know the name of the movie, I would say it's Josephine because it really circles around that and like their love relationship, and it really focuses on like her. How do I say it? Her extracurricular activities, I would say. So yeah,
Oh.
really focuses on that. Really puts emphasis on him being cheated, especially when he was away to Egypt. It really it really minimizes Egypt as well. Like you barely see anything from Egypt, and the one major scene that you get from Egypt is just him acting awkward. So yeah, I really didn't like the movie. Felt like he was being minimized and his accomplishments were being diminished. So yeah, it really didn't give him any sort of like flowers. Like think what you will of him, but apart from the tactics from war, his reforms when it comes to the economy, when it comes to laws, when it comes to the like the educational system, some of those still last today. So you really had a pretty big impact in those, and it really tosses those aside. The movie, like they don't even get mentioned. But yeah, I didn't like it because of that. Felt like he was being undermined.
Huh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. You are now the second person or third person who I have explained this to and pretty much gave me that answer. So I might have taken three persons out of a cinema.
Yeah, you might have.
And yeah, movie reviews to end fantasy football.
Yep, that's how we gotta do it. All right, you do
and
the
I
outro, buddy.
and I guess it makes sense as well because as the season draws along and it's getting like shorter and shorter, like people who played fantasy football, like I would say roughly half of them or almost that have been eliminated. People that listen to us and who play fantasy football. So you
Sure.
sort of need an incentive to walk in the this show. So give us a listen for the movie reviews. So
There you
so
go.
yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, those do really well with us. Apparently, so I totally like confiscated the last basketball episode with Ren, and we just talked about like movies in general, and apparently it might be a spinoff. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that. I love movies. I'll probably watch one today because no football, so I need to go look up what to watch today. I have some things pending. The Five Nights at Freddy's is one of them, but I really think that's like okay-ish. So I was hoping for something a bit better. But yeah, that might be hit this today. It's between that or Barbie at this point because I haven't watched Barbie.
I haven't watched Barbie either. So
All right. Well, as Angelo usually says, there's a fancy donate button right there that you can click to help us out. If you're listening on the podcasts app, if you're listening on Spotify, just leave us a 5-star review, of course. Nothing less than that. And turn on the auto downloads as well. That really helps us. If you're listening on YouTube, just leave us a comment, a like, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel, of course. And I just hope you get very lucky this playoff season. I know I won't. So have a nice round of playoffs, guys. See you next week.
peace, guys. Maybe I'll be back. Maybe I'll be healthy sometime before 2024, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Let's hope Angelo gets back healthy.
Yep.